Midlife. You hear that word, and you probably think of sports cars, maybe some questionable fashion choices, this desperate scramble to feel young again. We've all heard of the midlife crisis. But what if that's just the wrong map? What if this whole period isn't a crisis at all, but something quieter, something way more profound? Let's dig into that.
So that's really the big question here, isn't it? Is this a moment where everything falls apart, or is it a moment where it all finally comes together? A time where you might just come home to yourself. We're going to explore a perspective that says midlife is less about losing your way and a whole lot more about finding your true north.
So the first major thing to understand is this huge shift in how we operate. It's like our life's internal operating system gets a massive upgrade. We move from that frantic, chasing energy into something much more grounded, more present.
I mean, just look at the words we're using here, because they tell the whole story. When we're young, we are constantly chasing the next promotion, the next goal. We're always proving ourselves, rushing to get to some imaginary finish line. But in midlife, the whole rhythm changes. You stop rushing, you start choosing. You stop running, and you start really truly arriving in your own life.
And this quote, man, it just nails it. That relentless pressure for everyone else's approval just kind of fades away. The performance is over. You start shifting from building a resume for other people to actually building a life for yourself. The focus changes from how your life looks to actually how it actually feels.
Okay, so when that internal stuff starts changing, it's only natural that your goals, well, they start to look totally different too. What you're aiming for begins to change big time.
In our 20s and 30s, ambition is everything, right? It's the fuel. We want to go further, faster, climb higher. But after 40, a whole new currency comes into play: clarity. It stops being about just climbing the ladder, and it starts being about making sure your ladder is leaning against the right wall. The why suddenly becomes so much more important than the what.
And you know what comes with that clarity? Just this incredible sense of peace. That endless, exhausting chase for more finally gets quiet once you figure out what actually matters. And there's such a feeling of freedom in that stillness.
So this is the real pivot point. It's this switch from quantity to quality. It's not about racking up more stuff, more awards, or just more experiences for the sake of it anymore. The hunger changes. It becomes a hunger for depth, for purpose, for meaning in the things you already do.
And you know the amazing part? When that happens, life actually gets simpler. Your focus gets razor sharp because all those distractions, all that noise, it just starts to lose its power. The things you thought were so important just kind of fall away, and you're left with what's real. All right, so your priorities have flipped. But you might be wondering, where's all this new clarity coming from? Well, it comes from the one thing you have now that you didn't have before: decades of actual, lived experience. And you start to process that experience in a completely different way.
Think about your early life as just gathering data. And it's messy, right? It's chaotic, confusing, a lot of noise. It's full of mistakes and wins and heartbreaks. For a long, long time, it's just a wall of noise. But in midlife, you finally develop this ability to see the patterns in it all. You start to find the signal in the noise.
And here's how that process really works. It's not magic, you know? You take the raw material of your experience, all that noise, and then, through reflection, you start to pull out the signal, the lesson underneath it all. And that signal, well, that becomes insight, which leads you right back to the clarity we were talking about.
And this is the beautiful result of all that work. Your past stops being this heavy thing you drag around and instead becomes a library you can walk into anytime. It's not about who you were anymore. It's about what you learned. You become a student of your own life, and your own history becomes your greatest professor.
So, if ambition is taking a backseat and clarity's in the driver's seat, then what does success even mean anymore? The whole definition of winning just gets a complete overhaul. And this right here is a total game changer. Success is no longer something you measure on the outside. It becomes a feeling on the inside. It's not about the fancy title or what's in your bank account. All of a sudden, peace is the new success. The real luxury isn't the sports car, it's inner stability. So what does this new kind of success actually feel like day to day? Well, it's that quiet feeling that less can finally be enough. It's realizing that being calm is your greatest strength. That inner stability is the ultimate luxury. And it's accepting that real progress, the most important growth, doesn't always make a lot of noise. Sometimes it's silent.
I mean, think about that. It totally flips our usual idea of strength upside down, doesn't it?
Strength stops being about being loud or forceful. It becomes about composure. It's about being the steady hand in the middle of a storm. The confidence you find after 40 is quiet, it's internal, and it's unshakable.
And all of this, all these shifts from chasing to arriving, from ambition to clarity, from noise to insight, it's all leading to one final and maybe most important destination.
Let's be real. For so much of our lives, we're putting on a show, aren't we? We play all these roles: the good student, the ambitious worker, the perfect parent. But midlife is kind of when the curtain comes down. The audience goes home, and you're just left with you, the person you are when there is nobody left to impress. And for the first time, maybe ever, that person is enough.
And this honestly might be the most powerful idea of all. The whole midlife crisis thing suggests you have to burn it all down and reinvent yourself into someone new. But this way of looking at it is gentler and I think way more profound. It suggests you're not becoming someone else at all. You are simply returning to the person you were before the world started telling you who you were supposed to be. It's a rediscovery, not a reinvention.
When you boil it all down, this is what it's about. You spend the first half of your life asking everyone else for the map, right? Looking for directions, needing someone to approve your path. But through all that experience and reflection, you've been slowly building your own internal compass, and you finally learn how to trust it. So, I'll leave you with this question. After all the chasing is done, after the noise quiets down, and after you've stopped proving yourself, when you finally stand still and just listen to that internal compass you've spent a lifetime building, where is it telling you to go next?